Menopausal and perimenopausal women, listen up. It's time to take control of your health and comfort, and Winona is here to help. Winona is a telemedicine company for menopause care who believes that your symptoms are real, important, and deserve to be taken seriously. And for many women, this starts with hormone replacement therapy. Winona's HRT is made with plant-based, bioidentical hormones rather than synthetic ones, so it better aligns with your body to offer relief from hot flashes, weight gain, and other uncomfortable symptoms. 80% of women who use Winona find relief within just 90 days. So, what are you waiting for? Get started today. Visit buywinona.com today to start your free visit. With free shipping and the ability to pause or cancel at any time, your path to wellness has zero obligations. Use code SPRING24 at buywinona.com for 25% off your first treatment plan. That's BYWINONA.com for 25% off. Winona. Menopause care made easy. Summer is the season of hot temperatures, outdoor adventures, and refreshing water activities. Summer is also the season of rough on your feet, causing dry, cracked heels and toes. Introducing Babyfoot, the original exfoliation foot peel that contains 16 natural extracts formulated to remove dead skin cells in 3 easy steps. Apply the booties, relax for an hour, then wash your feet. In 14 days, you've got baby smooth skin and your feet have never been softer. Letting dead skin cells build up over time is hazardous to your foot health. Our professional-grade DIY products, like our original exfoliation foot peel, our men's foot peel, or our moisturizing mask, are some of the best foot care products on the market, created with your foot health in mind. Pamper yourself with a spa day from the comfort and convenience of your own home with Babyfoot. If you want a chemical-free, easy-to-use exfoliating process from the company that created the original foot peel, it's time to treat yourself to Babyfoot. Go to babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24 and get 20% off your first order with Babyfoot. That's babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24.
And 5, 6, 7, 8, and welcome to Too Stupid to Live, a podcast that reviews romance novels $5 and under. I'm your host, Becky Feldman, and I hope you are warmed up because today we are reading a ballet romance. And my guest today, I have to say, she proves that everything is beautiful at the ballet. Writer, performer, podcaster Diana Wright returns to the show. And as you know, Diana and I have another podcast called Bad Turnout where we discuss all things ballet cinema. And this originated from our mutual love from the movie Center Stage. So if you listen to our past podcast, which we, talk about when Diana was on before, we talked about Center Stage. So if you guys are as cultured as Diana and I and love Center Stage as well, you know that in that movie, there is an excerpt from the ballet, Romeo and Juliet, and it's like this, beautiful scene. We see, all the dancers, the guy who ends up being kind of a piece of shit, but he's a great dancer. Anyway, okay, so yes, I know that Romeo and Juliet isn't a romance in the sense of what romance, the genre, is, but should you find the visual of a beautiful woman standing on a balcony, winning over the heart of a hunky man, looking up at the balcony, and it is part of a romance that has a happily ever after without 17 million people dying in the end for no reason. Guys, what this is leading up to is that Kate Clayborn has a new book out. It's a contemporary romance called Love at First. And given that Kate Clayborn is an author whose books have been on dozens of best of lists, including Entertainment Weekly, O Magazine, Washington Post, and much more, you know that this book is going to deliver. So, Love at First is about a hunky doctor named Will who, when he was younger, heard the beautiful voice of Nora as she was singing above him on a balcony. And when they cross paths again, we have a fun enemies to lovers romance happening that, frankly, in my opinion, this is what Romeo and Juliet should have been. So, you know what? Take that, Shakespeare. I feel like I sound so weird right now. Am I making sense? I am so sorry if I'm not making sense right now. But trust me, when I get to the, actual show, it does make that makes more sense. Anyway, guys, for more information on where you can get Love at First, you can visit TSTLpodcast.com. So the book that Diana and I are reviewing today is also a contemporary romance called Second Position. It is written by Catherine Locke and is currently $3.99. And I have been wanting to read this book since forever, but it's always been more than $5. So I am so excited that it is now $4, and I am equally excited that I have Diana to review this book with me. So please enjoy this review of Second Position. Well, are you ready to go? Are you warmed up? Are you warmed up, Diana?
I am warmed up. I'm stretched. I'm ready to go.
The limbs are loose. Well, welcome, Diana, back to Too Stupid to Live. And I am calling this episode either a podcast pod-a-do or a podcast da-do. Because we're combining our Center Stage Ballet Cinema podcast and then this podcast, which is about romance novels.
Yes, absolutely. Apparently there's crossover.
There is crossover. So if you guys don't know, we have a podcast called Bad Turnout where we discuss all things ballet cinema. And if you heard Diana on the show in the past, we were talking, we all of a sudden diverted into Center Stage, and the episode became all about Center Stage essentially, and maybe the novel. And so we're like, whoa, we got to start a new podcast, and we did. And now we're doing the pod-a-do of podcasts today.
Yeah, it was such a kismet moment in that podcast record of discovering our shared love of Center Stage.
Yeah, it really felt good. It just felt like, I mean, I know Center Stage, people know it, but it's the one thing of when you meet someone who's from all the way across the country, but then you realize you have the same friend in common and it's bonkers. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, there's a true, you're oh my God, okay.
Yeah, that is insane. And that's what it felt like. But because Center Stage and ballet cinema, I mean, I feel like it attracts only so many people. I mean, only so many awesome people. And so it was just very nice.
It's just, I think it's also just when it's also something weird when you're obsessed with it. And then, just to be able to be oh, someone else, I can talk about this freely. Then it feels like a safe, warm embrace.
It's a safe, warm embrace. So that's why I'm calling this show Stupid Turnout. Or Too Bad to Live. Too bad turnout to live. I'm going to figure this out. Don't worry, guys. I want to talk to you about ballet cinema and comparing it to what we did. We read a ballet novel, and I'll get to the synopsis in a sec, but for you, I am so fascinated, and I want to know how it compared. I know it's different because when you're reading and the other you're watching, but in terms of your experience of it, how did it feel for you?
It felt nice. There was a lot of stuff, the same tropes that I think ballet cinema captures, this book really captured. It's very about this couple, but it still felt like it scratched that ballet itch. I think it to be a true ballet cinema thing, it would probably have to be set at a ballet school or a ballet company, and then it might be a true ballet cinema novel. And now I'm wondering if there's been a novelization of Center Stage.
Oh, there has to have been. Yeah. If not, there's Center Stage fan fiction. Which why haven't we not read that before? We should do that on we should just find Center Stage fiction and do that on another episode of Bad Turnout.
Absolutely, I'm down for that.
Great. Okay.
I feel like yes. So I think that would be the only thing I would say that would really hit that true world. Just giving us a little bit more of the ballet world, because this is so focused on two characters, one being a prima ballerina, and I felt like when she got into the like ballet studio, I was like, ooh, yeah, like give me more, give me more of that drama.
Yeah. You know what I realized though today, like looking at the author and stuff, there's a sequel to this book.
There is, yes.
Yeah, I bought it and I'm so excited to read it.
I mean, it's the type of book, and I finished the book, and I was like, oh, it's like, for more, read this. But then did I catch that this is also the second book in the series?
Here is what's fascinating, is that the book is called Second Position, but it's the first book in the series, I think. Unless I read things wrong, which, to be fair, anyone could read this wrong, given that the first book in a series is called Second Position. I feel like it's probably a common mistake, but I'm 24% sure that this is the first book.
Because Finding Center is book 2, and Center Position is book 1. Okay. But weird, when I am looking at it, the number 1 position is Finding Center, and number 2 position is second position.
Exactly. Because it's like when you start ballet, it's like find your center, you get your like positioning right, and then second position, you do first position before you do second position. Even though this book is about second position in a metaphorical sense, I feel like it was slightly confusing.
Well, it also, because it was like about, and I know you're going to do the synopsis in a minute, but it was about like a couple reconnecting. It did feel like I was like, oh, is there like a story of their earlier romance? Because I remember the book that I read previously, which like was a book of a series, and so there was like moments where it sort of like referenced things that I was like, oh, I bet that was like its own novel and like things like that. And then once I dug into it, I was like, oh yeah, that was accurate. So I was sort of like, oh, is this like the second in the series? But then I looked it up and I was like, no, it's not. So
yeah, I think it's an easy mistake to make, given that I made that. But here's the thing: I make easy mistakes even when there's hard mistakes. So. But I will. Okay, let me read the synopsis before, because I think you brought up a good point about like reading about what their past was. So I'll just read the synopsis just so everyone can get like a better sense. Okay, so we reviewed Second Position by Catherine Locke. Okay. Ballet dancers Aliana Miller and Zedekiah Harrow survived a serious car crash, but it came at a tragic price. They lost their unborn baby. Zedekiah suffered an injury that cut his career short, which then led to a struggle with alcoholism. And Aliana couldn't cope with the trauma of this accident, exacerbating her eating disorder and depression, which ultimately led to a mental breakdown a few years later. Not having seen each other since that tragic night, they run into each other when Allie is taking a leave of absence from the Philadelphia Ballet. Attempting to rekindle their friendship and romance, they soon learn that the act 2 of their story can't begin if they don't put in the work.
See, even in the synopsis, the act 2 of their story.
Because it is. And it's like, I completely understand why this book is called Second Position. I like understand the title, and I imagine most people would. But yeah.
It does make me think that, like, why didn't they go for the low-hanging fruit of just, like, a book series that's just 1 through 5 position, like, first position, second position, third position, fourth position, fifth position.
That would have been a good series. Like, I mean, it is a decent idea. Like, I feel like for, like, if it were more of, like, because I feel like tonally this book is very different than I think, like, kind of the more, dare I say, upbeat and fluffier romance novels. So I feel like if this were like more like fun and cute in a way, I'm like, yeah, I could see that. Yeah. But this tonally was, for me, unlike anything that I've ever read before, because it tackled issues that, you know.
This was intense. Yeah. I was not prepared for. It delved deep, and it was more of a character study than I was prepared for. I was expecting some like sloppy mirror sex, and instead it was just really delve deep into these two characters, these two people rekindling their relationship.
Yeah. Who, like, were broken. Like, very much broken.
Very broken.
And, like, yes, I was expecting the same thing. Like, I was expecting something kind of, we had the premise, but I wasn't expecting how serious the tragedy was, how, like, I think our main character of Allie is struggling with, you know, an eating disorder and her mental health, and like she does stuff to herself that I'm like, oh my God, I've never read this in a romance novel before, and like, so yeah, that's why it was like very, like, it was so engaging, but it did, like, I was like, whoa, this is like a drama.
You know, if anything, maybe something that it does better than ballet cinema is it tackles these issues that ballet cinema tries to tackle, but tackles them kind of well, as opposed to, like, ballet cinema is always just like anorexia and stabbing and, like, and
yes,
a serial killer ghost, and you're like, what? And I felt like this actually, like, did delve into some of the serious issues that I think ballet dancers in general face, like what to do after your career, what happens when your career has kind of broken you, and all of these things that, you know, dancers face in real life.
Yeah. And I also thought, like, I feel like it also got into what it's like to be not having overcome an eating disorder, but in the process of overcoming it, like in the process of seeking treatment. And it's like, and how hard it is and what her thought process is like, you know? And I feel like that was fascinating, because you have scenes where her mom is there, and like, so she's like living with her mom because she like had this breakdown. She went to seek treatment, and now she's seeking treatment for eating disorder, and is very hard for her. And so you see like moments where her mom's like, you have to drink your Ensure, and like, and I thought that was fascinating. Go ahead.
No, I don't. Did you ever see Kate Huffman's one woman show, I'm Too Fat for This Show?
No, I never did.
It was about her tackling and I want to say overcoming, but like, you know, it's still always a process, just years of eating disorders. And it did felt very, that was just like a nice in-depth show of that experience. And I felt like this book really also handled that well, where it's like, it's such a long journey. You know, it's not something that you just are like, oh, I went into treatment and then, you know, now I'm done. There is a level, especially because it's with food and you need food to live. It's just something you have to face every day.
Yeah. And also like the thinking, like I thought there was such a great, like, poignant moment that was like very eye-opening to me of like, you know, because I've never had an eating disorder, but there was this like moment where they get in a fight. So they're rekindling their romance, and it's clear there's issues with, you know, they have like ongoing issues that they still need to work out, like as they're getting back together, and they get in a fight. And when he storms off, like her first thought is, this is happening because I'm fat. And like, that was like very eye-opening of just like how, when you're suffering with something, like how your brain like rationalizes it. And it just like made me like feel for her in a way that I had like never thought of. And I was like, oh, I get it. And I'm sorry you're feeling this way. I just wanted to give her a hug.
Yeah, I think it does just, it really speaks to body dysmorphia and just how it, like, you filter whatever you're thinking through that lens. I mean, I think the closest I have come to that is like depression thinking. But yeah, that sort of idea where you like go to a party and you're like, everybody hates me.
Yeah.
You have like perfectly inane conversations with people and you leave being like, oh, everyone hates me. I should never have come to that. And you're like, it can just like color that thinking.
Yeah, I really liked her as a character. And how did you feel about her as a character?
I liked her a lot. I thought she was really grounded. You know, I liked that she was dealing with all these problems. I mean, it was a really, it's a nice, she didn't feel like a superhero, you know, she felt really broken, but still really loved, and like allowed to have that, those feelings, you know, because I felt she's dealing with this eating disorder recovery. At one point she cuts herself. You know, she's struggling to return to the thing she loves the most, which is ballet, but also recognizing the fact that it kind of has also destroyed her. And carrying this, you know, miscarriage and the guilt from that. In this car accident, and also that not necessarily being your fault, but them carrying on the guilt of that as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I wasn't prepared for how many chapters of this was going to be her in therapy. But I like honestly thought they were really well written. I mean, I got to the point where I was just like, it really felt like above and beyond. Not saying, I think, you know, there's definitely levels of like romance novels have a particular feel most of the time, and you know they're definitely, I think, I don't know, lighter fare.
Yes.
And so I just never feel like the characters are that well developed, and I felt like this just felt very real.
Yes, I completely agree. Because I feel like in other books that I've read, like if they bring up any sort of like mental health disorder where the person suffering from it is a threat to themselves or others, or if it is an eating disorder, it's always a side character. It's never like the protagonist. Like it's the protagonist is the one who's like, you know, just like being the savior for, you know, this person or, you know, even with like alcoholism, if it's the protagonist, like I feel like in the ones that I've read, it's like, oh, they've gotten past their alcoholism and they're doing really good right now. But, you know, with Zed, he's still, you know, he doesn't relapse, but he is about to. And like, and it's like, whoa, it was so great to like see our protagonist as this, because this is something that a lot of people like deal with, and to have like this genre like tackle those things, it's like, oh, I wonder, like, you feel less alone, I think.
Absolutely. I did feel like he had a lot of issues, but it felt like they had been tackled. So I did enjoy, I didn't want him to relapse, but I did enjoy the moments when it was like, felt like he was having trouble, like he was finding those moments of weakness. Cause I did feel like she was so actively in a healing process and going through that I didn't want him to be like the one who is like, oh no, I figured it out already, so I'm just waiting for you to figure it out. I did enjoy those moments when it was like a bit rockier. I mean, I think because he had lost his leg in this accident, he had to leave ballet earlier and find his own path, and just felt a bit more established.
Yeah, I like that, because I was like, oh, when I was expecting to meet him, like I was like, oh my God, what's he doing? Is he just like working in a cafe or whatever? But then it's like, no, he plays piano beautifully. He's this great drama teacher and he loves it. And it was just like, it made me happy for him, because it's like, oh, you found your path.
It did. It made me happy for him. But then I think at one point they were like, he's like, I'm 23. And I was like, you are too put together for 23.
Oh, 100%. Like these people were like felt so much older than they are. You know what I mean?
I think at one point he was like, he implied that he owned the building that the cafe he's in, and he has the apartment upstairs. And I was like, so he owns a building at 23? What? In DC? And I was like, this is insane. So, you know, and I think ballet dancers have to like age up quickly. They mature quickly. That, you know, you start working on a professional level in your teens. But they felt way too, and I think because it was 4 years ago, then they like are 19, 20 when they potentially were about to have a child. So there's definitely like, okay, you probably had your shit together and were a bit more mature. But I was like, I feel like you are so mature.
Yeah. And like, I agree. Like, I feel like 23, both like when anyone is 23, it's like you're barely an adult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like I was like, you have the maturity of like LA, like 37-year-olds.
Oh my God, 45-year-olds at the very youngest.
I'm like, simply by the fact that you live alone, you are way more mature than most.
Yeah.
And so at times I felt like that was almost comical because there would be like moments in the story when he would be, he'd be like, oh, well, yeah, it was really rough for a couple years, but I'm really glad I found this job. I found my life's passion. And like, I want to be like, you're 23. You're gonna burn out from this as well.
Yeah, like you're gonna have a career change. You're gonna realize like life throws. I mean, you realize at a very young age, life throws you curveballs, and you did mature very young, given that they were like professional dancers, like in their teens. But yeah, like 23, it like yeah, I agree. Like he was like would say things like, "Oh, it was so hard in the past," and it's like, and now at 23 years old, like my students love me. I'm sober, and it's like.
It kind of feels like when,
lucky.
I don't know, in like a Disney movie when they're like, I'm 16 years old, I'm an adult now. And you're like, no, you're not. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
I sort of wanted to be like, you're an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like with like things like Little Mermaid, I try to justify myself in my head of just like, okay, well, when you're 16 as a mermaid, maybe it's when you're 30 as a human,
yeah,
with legs, and that's how I enjoy that movie.
No, there's like a lot. I mean, I said this with like our Tiny Pretty Things thing where I have to like age up characters now. Like if I'm watching like a high school show, I have to like, I don't know if you watch any of Euphoria, but I was like watching it and I was like, I don't think I can enjoy this anymore.
I had to stop. Like I thought Zendaya was amazing. Like I love her, but it was like I have to watch this in bits and pieces because it was like it's intense. It's intense. Yeah.
Like after a while, I was like, I feel very dirty watching this, so I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, it just like made me sad for like teenagers. I'm like, oh my God, is this the teenage experience? Like, I want to hug every single teenager ever and like, put all the bad teenagers in jail.
Well, I think from like studies, it's not the teenage experience right now. I think like all the studies are like, no one's having sex. They're all online and living at their parents' house.
True. Very true. Yeah. And like someone told me that there's a study now that like this generation of teens and kids actually like their parents versus younger generations past who it was like the norm to be like, I don't like my parents aren't my friends. Like, and like now it's fascinating.
Like the teens that I know, and they're very few, like there's a couple that I like used to babysit. And so I'm like follow them on Instagram. And I'm constantly wondering if I'm like following their Finsta or not.
Yeah.
And but they seem to they like their parents, like they're kids that are like starting, like one of them is a freshman in college and is so like engaged in politics and is constantly like, you got to vote in this and march in this, and like they're so engaged. And I just feel like they're not like the idea of like the cliques of like the jocks and the cheerleaders and things just doesn't feel like it exists anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Like I feel like it's I feel like I mean, again, I only know so many teenagers, like 3 maybe, and like it's just like your maturity, like maybe this is maybe why he's 23. Your maturity level and like engagement and like what's going on in the world is like compares to like a mid-20s adult. So maybe like in this book 23 is an LA 45. DC 23 is an LA 45.
You're right. Like, yeah, it could be that they're just so much, I don't know, more in touch with the world and are less like obsessed with themselves and getting drunk in a parking lot. I just feel like they're just smarter.
I know. Yeah, and then it's just like, what? Come on, guys! Like when we were teens, it took us a really long time to get porn on the internet to load. Now you just have access on the porn.
That's it. Maybe it's that early access to porn that ages them up real fast.
Yeah. I just remember that, like, when I was in high school or middle school, like, someone brought in a picture of, like, a naked lady. Like, I, like, was on the bus and I, like, was able to see it just, like, where my seat was. And they're like, hey, look at this. And they, like, opened a picture of a naked lady and just, it was in color ink, which was, like, so new at the time. And I'm just thinking, like, and I was thinking, like, that probably took a really long time to print. Like, how were you able to get away with that without, like, you know what I mean? Like, like
late at night, like you'd like no one can hear.
Exactly. And someone being like, son, where did all the printer ink go?
I have a distinct memory. Like it was like middle school or like early high school. My mom bought me one of those like clamshell like MacBooks, the colorful ones.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah.
That like had a handle. She bought me one at a garage sale and was like, here, now you have a computer. And I remember like late one night, you know, this was like phone line. You couldn't be on the phone and the internet at the same time, like looking up.
Right.
Like I was like, oh, and then I think I just like searched like porn. And I was like, oh, this is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, every kid has to do that. I remember the first thing I ever did was search cyber sex because it was like this like term going around in the zeitgeist of cybering. And so I like Googled cyber sex and then it ended up being porn. And I was like, oh, cyber sex is sex. Like, I just like didn't think like, I was like, I just didn't put two and two together.
You're like,
like I guess I thought cyber sex was like doing an improv scene or something. Like not like, oh, this is like phone sex actually. And it's like where people get off. I thought it was just like fun improv games.
I feel like that's actually how I got on board. Like I sort of played like almost like an improv game with myself where I would just Google, or it was like pre-Google. It was like Alta Vista or like Ask Jeeves. But I would I would just like type in random words and see what came up. And I think I like typed in once like stockings or nylons or something, and porn came up, and I was like, whoa. Wow. And I was like, okay, this is an interesting territory. As I'm just like random word generating the internet. And yeah, then it devolved from there, and then I did some late night searches.
Well, listen, you entered a whole new world, and like it was very important in your growth process.
To the Little Mermaid, a whole new world.
I know. Yeah,
or
like
part of your
whole
world.
New world. Part of your world is or a whole new world, like Aladdin's showing Jasmine. Like, let me take you on a magic carpet ride through the annals of the internet.
Isn't a whole new world just him giving her first orgasm? Like, isn't that what a magic carpet ride is?
Oh my God. Yes, it is. I'm going to use that terminology of like I'm going to be like, grade a romance novel whether or not it says magic carpet ride.
you know, does the carpet match the drapes? Like, you know, Jasmine definitely had a full bush going on. Yeah, it's a magic carpet ride. That's 100%. Finger blasting.
It's finger blasting, yeah. And it's like, oh, what did you think of that magic carpet ride scene? Or, hey, babe, do you want to go on a magic carpet ride? And I'll
all right,
be like,
I think we need
again?
to like.
Oh yes, finger. Yeah.
We should enter this into a Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
Make it official.
And we should. I agree, and we'll credit ourselves as the creators because come on,
of course,
is genius. It's absolutely genius of what we came up with. So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, back to the book, which is very serious and nothing like Aladdin and Jasmine.
It feels criminal to go back to the book after that conversation.
I know. Yeah. Well, honestly, this is going to be a pretty good segue. Did you find that did you want more moments of levity in this book? Like, did you ever find it getting a little moody?
Yes. I found there were times where to be honest, I just wanted them to bang a bit more.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's why I read it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I felt like it was like this this long build up to like one big sex scene. There was a lot of like almost sex scenes and like back and forth, but I was like, I think that's what the levity it was missing. Like I just wanted them to get hot and steamy and have those moments and make those mistakes because again, it was like that level of like they were so mature about it. They were the two very broken people coming about reconnecting in such a mature way that it was like I was like, God, I don't even have this emotional maturity now.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, can you just like fuck a little bit?
Yeah. It's like, stop making the right choices. They made poor choices, maybe like with things they say to each other and like actions and things they don't say to each other. But it's like, you can make a poor choice with like getting it on and it being the best sex you ever had. Like, we would enjoy that. You're both gorgeous people. They were like that.
Super gorgeous people. And I mean, I guess he had like one leg, but that doesn't really actually bother me.
No, same.
I feel like I would totally bang a one-legged person.
Of course, yeah.
I think that was what it was. It was just like I think I wanted a little, like I was almost prepared for them to have like a few moments like back in the studio, like I think just because it is a ballet themed romance novel, I was expecting some ballet themed sex. And I felt like it hinted at it, and they had like a moment where they're like, next time, let's do that. And I was like, no, do it now.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, because they're doing this whole thing, which is like, again, mature, where they wanted, the circumstances so when they have sex again to be perfect. Like, they're in the right headspace. Like, everything's perfect like mature people do. And so a lot of the book isn't sex, and we're just seeing people like making the right healthy decisions, possibly physically, when they didn't have to.
Yeah, I could have enjoyed a few mistakes along the way.
Like there could be some magic carpeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, in like as many times as possible.
There's like a real large subplot of like one of his students getting like a play produced in Chicago. And I was like, this is cool and like good for the student. But I was like, I don't need this.
No, I did not care about the student. Like, I was like, oh, it's cool. Like, we see that Zed's like a good teacher and she, Allie like helps him out with like rehearsals and stuff to like keep busy during this, leave of absence. And it's like, okay, we see why like he's a good teacher and that's like very heartwarming to see. But it's like, we only needed like one scene of that. You know what I mean? Like, I like good for this character of getting her play, but there's something I'm not really interested.
It was also, to me, like he was working at a school, and he even says, he's like, this is like a super rich private school where like super rich parents bring support their kids as they pursue the arts. And I guess for him, it was like nice to see because his family was very unsupportive of him, and he was like a scholarship kid at the ballet school where they met. But it did sort of feel like I was like, cool, like privileged students gets prize,
Yes. Yeah.
I felt like that storyline didn't necessarily wasn't in line necessarily with like the times of today, like what the story you want to hear.
Yeah.
Granted that happens all the time. And they deserve to win contests too, but there was like a sense where I was like, I could use less of this.
Yeah, like, good, her play won. Leave that over there. Like, let's get to one finger banging or any sort of banging. And like also they do bring up the idea that Allie thinks that Zed is jealous that she can still do ballet and he can't. Mm-hmm. And there's this whole thing of like, they think for Allie that it's ballet, like for Zed, alcohol is his addiction. And for Allie, ballet is her addiction, meaning they're like equating ballet with like alcohol or drugs or whatever. Mm-hmm. So like her mom and her support system and him, they're just like, don't go back to ballet. And it comes to a head when we realize that she has been. There's like a new ballet company opening up in DC. They're kind of courting her, and she like wants to go back, and so she's secretly taking classes, and he notices that her body is like she's losing a bit of weight, and then like she says like, you're not doing this because like, or she kind of intimates that she's like, you're not telling me that like it's wrong that ballet is addiction. I think you're jealous that I can still dance and you can't, and you've never come to terms with it. Mm-hmm. Do you think that was like a huge aspect? Because it is and it isn't.
I felt like he didn't spend a lot of time discussing it. Like it felt like it came a little bit out of nowhere, and I'm like, I can still see that being an issue for him, but I didn't see that in him, and we didn't talk about it. Or he didn't, like it wasn't, I didn't ever get like a sense where he like, I don't know, has a quiet moment by himself and like tries to dance and doesn't, or can't, or like does a hand movement and doesn't. So it did feel a little bit like I had felt like he had processed those emotions, and then all of a sudden she was like, you haven't processed these emotions. And then his like best friend is like, you haven't processed these emotions. And I'm like, I guess he hasn't. Like,
yeah. It kind of like felt out of left field a little bit. And then I was thinking like, oh, the therapy sessions with Allie were so engaging. And it's like, oh, there's probably opportunity to have done like AA sessions where we're with Zed and we're seeing, or maybe he has a therapist and we're seeing his perspective on things to like, because like he's been through so much, and even with like his childhood, like his parents were like these like uber Orthodox Christian people who didn't like him doing ballet. He doesn't keep in touch with them or anything, and we are primarily, although it's fascinating, just with Allie and all of this. I'm curious if the next book is more like with him. I have no idea.
That's how I think why I felt like he had processed his emotions better, because he has moved on. He has, he's been sober. It felt like he had really his act together. And I think I would have enjoyed seeing some like AA meetings or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think I also had like an issue with it because I feel like I've seen a dance being done by a guy with one leg, and he does it on crutches. Mm-hmm. And so I guess I sort of felt like there were like people were like, you can't dance anymore. And yes, he can't do ballet, he can't do it professionally, but I'm sort of like, you can dance. Like you could figure out ways to dance with one leg.
Mm-hmm. There's wheelchair ballet, and like there's all different types of like, there's nothing keeping you from doing it. Yeah, I agree with you. It might not be like the Philadelphia Ballet or whatever, but like they don't own dance. You know what I mean? Like professional ballet companies don't own the art of dance.
Exactly. So I just felt like there was like this real, I don't know, this like dead weight of his like prosthetic leg, where there were times when I wanted to be like, this, you can dance. Like you can find ways to do this if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. And so I guess that's why I like felt like he had just sort of put it behind him, and he was like, that's, I'm just not going to dance any longer, which, I also respect as a decision. But when they were all of a sudden were like, no, it's because you haven't processed you losing the ability to dance. There was just a part of me that was like, no, I mean, he could have figured out a way to dance. So.
Yeah, because it says he has a bar in his apartment, and I thought that was interesting. And I was like, oh, does he use it? Like, maybe just like does stretches on his own or something? Like, but that's not really answered. Yeah,
that was like a very weird thing, because like one, he was like, it almost seemed like he had forgotten that it was in his apartment, because he like comes in and he was like, oh yeah, I forgot the like drunken afternoon. I got a contractor to like do this. And I was like, did it all happen one afternoon while you were drunk? Like, it just felt like such a process where I was like, I've never been able to like get a contractor to come do a job like day of, like.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, what is that contractor thinking? Like, I mean, I guess it's only just a few holes in the wall. Like, I feel like if I got drunk and was like, redo my kitchen, I'd be like, well, hang on a second. Like,
I just sort of feel like, yeah, you could be like drunk and like call a contractor and be like, I want this. And then they could like show up 2 weeks later and you could be like, oh, never mind. Like, you could put this contract. I don't know. It just sort of, it felt like a real bender to be like, to be like, oh, I permanently installed something into my living room one drunken afternoon.
Yeah. And I would love to have read that flashback. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been, because obviously maybe he was a functioning alcoholic, perhaps, and it's like, oh, what a very like intriguing scene. Like, we're seeing her, like, we're getting the backstory of her like punching her co-worker and like things she did, you know, like you know, in her past. So it would have been like kind of interesting to see Zed's lowest points or just hear about it more.
Yeah, because it just, I think. Especially because I was also like, oh, in your process of getting sober, and he had been sober for 2 years, you could get that removed from your living room.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if it's this reminder, I mean, who knows? But it could be like something symbolic in your like recovery.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't mind the idea that he had it. It just sort of felt like he had forgotten that he did it. And like, I was like, it's in your living room, and...
Like, is your TV covering it? Or, like,
like
you know what I mean? Like, is you using it as a coat stand? Or, like, what are you doing with it?
You know, it's hard to ignore a bar and a full-length mirror and, like, a, you know, so I don't know. There was just a level when he was just like, oh, yeah, I forgot I did that. And I'm like, have you just not been in your apartment for 2 years? Like, what?
Yeah. It's a little incongruous, I guess. So question... if like they get started to dating like right away when they reconnect, they like they do start dating right away, and like well, not right away, but they agree to see each other again. They don't, obviously it doesn't become like romantic right away, but we see that it is. And like, if Allie and Zed were your friends and what happened to them had happened, like, and you see them getting back together so quickly, like, would you be like, are you guys sure you want to do this?
It really did feel like they needed some friends.
Oh, yes. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah.
Like, Zed has Dan, and I'm like, well, it's lucky that, like, and they, like, work together. I wanted to know Dan's age because I also kind of felt like he was, like, 35 to Zed's, like, 23.
Yeah.
Maybe just because he had a wife and, like, a house, and they, like, did holiday meals. It felt very mature. But it just sort of felt like they needed people to talk to, and it just didn't seem like they had people to talk to. I don't know. It was just like, she had her mom, but it seemed like her mom like worked a lot and then was like constantly like, you have to drink this, and sure. And I sort of felt like they needed someone to be like, you sure you want to do this? Especially, I mean, Dan, I felt like needed to do it because I was like, well, he's heard all the stories in AA, so I feel like he would have some thought process to it.
Yeah.
We got a little bit with the therapist, but certainly, it's certainly like a very messy start to go through all of that. Not talk to each other immediately after this accident happens. So it's like they get into an accident, she loses the baby, he loses his leg, and then they just never talk to each other again. And then they meet up. I mean, that's a lot.
That's so intense. Yeah.
They fall into things really quickly.
And it's interesting because, like, I feel like, okay, if, like, I were in that situation, we got the sense that they were anxious, and we got the sense there was a fear, you know, obviously, like, just having that happen to you, like, is so anxiety-inducing to anyone. And, like, the fact that, like, it wasn't that awkward when they first talk. I was like, whoa, they like get back into the swing of things. Like they have their verbal rapport happens, like comes back right away. And I thought that was like very interesting of just like, oh, okay, then these two like really loved each other. You know what I mean? I mean, they did, but like, oh, these two had something much more profound than maybe I thought.
And maybe that adds to like the fact that he felt so mature, because it just sort of felt like he's like immediately like, oh, come help with play rehearsal, you know? And instead of, I think, like having the like those fights or having the moments of awkwardness, or even just like having like a messy just like lust hookup and then having to go from there. It did feel like they had that like 3/4 of the way through the book, but it certainly they bounce into a friendly, jovial, like, let's go get lunch. You know, like it sort of felt like it was just a friend that you hadn't seen in 4 years, and you're like, oh my God, we used to be, you know, college friends, and let's go catch up. And then you're like, cool, well, I'll see you again in 4 years. Versus like just going through all of that stuff.
Yeah. There wasn't the awkward catch up. And I think I wanted that a little more, just to like, again, maybe for a moment of like levity of like saying a dumb, like, because, you know, when that happens, like you say a dumb joke, or you like, you know what I mean? Like those kinds of things where like, it's like you're in that moment of just like, where do we even begin? And I wanted to like know what that was like for them.
Yeah, because I think, like, I can barely have a mature conversation about my feelings now, and with people that I see every day. And so I felt like they just like launch into it so easily. And I'm like, where's like where you can't make eye contact, or you're like you're holding back tears, or like playing with your food or whatever. Where I feel like they're just like immediately in it. So yeah, I mean, maybe it is that like it seemed very easy for them to bounce. I guess there was like a sense where I was like, I never got a sense that they weren't going to be together.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And especially when she gets the offer seemingly out of nowhere to like go to the DC ballet, I'm like, okay, great. Like that, you know, it just felt like it was very just easy. Like it was just like, oh, great. So they're going to like rekindle, and it's going to be fun for them. And I wanted, I think, a little bit more problems, or like even with like the family coming together. You know, they established that his boss is the her mom's boyfriend of 4 years. You know, and it felt very like you're connected, but not. Like I was sort of in this like weird spot where I was like, would he know that his boss is dating his like, you know, ex's mom? Like, I don't know. I feel like, did they have a holiday party or something? I feel like they would have crossed paths already. Or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it did feel like it was too coincidental when it didn't when it could have been like more grounded in that way.
Especially because it was like, I think it was like 4 years. So it was like the exact time of the accident. And I'm like, really? So it's like, you got this job on your own without the connection, which I was like, no, I can believe that. But I do think you would have like eventually run into, you know, something would have happened where you know, he'd be like, oh, my, you know, girlfriend, Kara, you know, and he would have been like, oh, you know, blah, 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 you know, something.
Or even like he's in the interview and they're like, tell me about your experience. And he's like, oh, I used to dance in Philadelphia Ballet. And then he would be like, oh, my girlfriend's daughter is like dancing there. Like, and then it's like, oh, boy. Like that would have happened like then. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I think they would have figured that out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a weird thing, but like I worked this job, and like basically we figured out that my coworker was married to the daughter of one of my mom's classmates in college, you know, so it's like that we figured that out pretty easily. And that I think is like 18 more steps removed.
Yeah.
And so I think it would have come up.
Yeah. 100%. Were you nervous for Allie when she started dancing again?
I was. There was a part of me that, I don't know, like when Zed brings up the college courses and she reacts so negatively to it, I felt like that was like really unnecessary. And I did enjoy the fact that the author brought up, you know, which I think is a true subject, which is really difficult for ballet dancers, which is like what they do after they retire, because you retire very young, especially if you're a woman, and you've probably spent your entire life laser focused on this. And then all of a sudden it's just like, what do you do? And especially if you've like started very young, you probably, you know, barely got a high school education. You got it online, which like, you know, most students are doing now. So you know,
right.
our future generation is going to be great. And
they're all going to be dancers. Yeah.
They're all going to be ballet dancers. And so I did enjoy that, but I did like, I don't know. There's like a part of me that was like, I don't know, take this stats class. Like, it felt like she didn't need to freak out that much.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like I was like, okay, you could be one of those ballet dancers that just goes from ballet to teaching to choreographing or whatever. But it made me very nervous in terms of her going back to ballet, especially because it did feel like, even though she's like, no, ballet is life and then everything else surrounding it. But I'm like, no, clearly it's a trigger. It did feel like you went right back into like anorexic thinking once ballet started.
Yeah, because like they talk about like she goes to her first class or like she goes to stretch or something, and she's been watching and not dancing. She goes to stretch, and then I think there was like a scene where the ballet mistress was like, "Oh, you'll tighten up" or something. Like she says one thing that like, you know, whatever, and then I was just like, "No, why would you say that to her?" And it's like, oh, it made me nervous.
Yeah, it definitely like it was like you're soft, and I was like, oh
yeah,
like
yeah, don't say that.
Yeah, it really felt like I was like, oh, she's gonna be like back to her old ways really quickly.
Yeah.
So, but it also I think certainly brings up that idea of like how easy it is to go back into that thinking, you know, once you're in that world. And you know, the truth is when you're dealing with an eating disorder, food is something that you have to interact with every day. You know, if you're an alcoholic, you can stay away from drinking. If you're a drug dealer, you know, or a drug addict, you can stay away from drugs for the most part.
Yeah.
I've never encountered heroin, so if I was a heroin addict, I feel like I would be able to avoid
not
heroin.
Encounter it. Yeah.
But yeah, like I think that's one of the reasons why eating disorders is so hard, because it's like it is something you have to deal with every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it did make me very nervous. Even at the end when she was like, "Oh, and I can dance like a little or much as I want," and then at the end they're like, "She's in every ballet."
Yeah.
I'm I don't think you found that balance.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is like why I'm happy there's a second book, because then I'm like, okay, maybe in the second book, like, you know, she'll like, I don't need her to like get better and be like, and I'm done with my anorexia. You know, I know it's not like that, but to just like be in a better place where she can have that balance of, because like for her, there's even a line where she's like, when I learned to dance, I learned to breathe. Like it's so much who she is. And it's like, it'd be devastating if like she had to end her dance career in this way when like she probably still had more years in her. So it was hard to see her family and Zed say stay away from ballet, and us as readers being like stay away, but she's just like telling us and she's telling them like I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's also a truth of it, where it's like I can understand that when you find that thing that you're good at and you know and you love, and it, you know, it really gives you a life purpose, especially because, you know, it is that truth of like she seem to have both the talent and the drive, which I often, I have talked about, like, not having the drive in that sense, where it's like,
yes.
where you're like, oh, she wasn't just like lazy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like she didn't hang out with her friends and like, I mean, like, you know what I mean? It was just like every second was dance and like, she was never like, I don't feel like getting out of bed.
It reminds me of like the Michael, I don't know if you watched the Save the Last Dance, Michael Jordan.
I
Save
didn't.
the Last Dance? I think it is.
I was like, I watched Save the Last Dance, that movie with what's her face, but I didn't watch the Michael Jordan ballet movie.
I do want to do that movie on Bad Turnout. Because
we should.
Someone replayed the final dance where she combines ballet and hip hop to get into Juilliard, and it is so terrible. So I do want to rewatch that.
Yes, that's going to be on the list as well because I do want to talk about that final scene. I saw that tweet and I was like, I can't. This is a travesty.
So much pointing.
Yeah.
But in the Michael Jordan documentary, I personally didn't like it. I thought it was a little confusingly made. But at one point, they do talk about how he had this like crazy talent, but he would also like spend every minute of his day like practicing free throws and like would practice after, before practice and after practice. And it is just like that. It reminded me of that same drive where it's like, oh yeah, not only are you like incredibly naturally talented, but you also put in the work and keep it going. I feel like if I was naturally talented at something, I'd be like, great. Like,
yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. You do need the mindset of it. And I guess that mindset could be, you do lose track of like eating, you know what I mean? Or sleeping and like things like that. And it's like, oh, you have to find a delicate balance of drive, versus...
Yeah, and and so much of anorexia too is about control, and they did talk about her need to control the things that she can, so that because there's so many things you can't control, and I was like, oh, that's real eating disorder thinking, because it can be about like, well, I can't control the world, but I can control what I can put in my body, and so I can control my weight. I'll track all my calories because I can't track the stressors of the world. So there's definitely that. But yeah, I mean, it made me wary about her going back to ballet.
Yeah, I was very wary about that. Her final scene, like with her therapist, where the therapist is like, which made me cry, and I checked my period tracker, and I see why I cried. But I was like crying when they were like, you're going to be okay. You like know you're going to be okay. And I was just like, she's going to be okay. What did you think about her like talking about how she needed to like be broken down in order to dance or something? Like she like that like she needs to fall in order to get up, and like that makes her okay to dance or something. I'm doing a terrible job quoting.
Yeah, I think there's like a level of, and maybe it's like she had to reach this like new low so that she would actually like seek help, which like allowed her to dance healthily. But like I think there's also just that really like broken mindset, and I think we're moving away from it as a society where it's like you have to be mentally broken to like do good art.
Yeah.
And sort of like that idea of like, well, if you're not secretly suffering from depression, like you can't be creative. And, we've certainly seen people in our community who have suffered from that, and some people that have killed themselves because of it. And so I was wary of that, if that was what it was implied, that like sort of that idea of like, I have to be broken so that I can be creatively, like I can dance. But I sort of, I took it in when I was reading it, and maybe this was incorrect, which was that she had to kind of like reach her rock bottom to like seek the help that allowed her to get healthy. Maybe that's what it was, but
that's how I saw it too. And like, I thought it was like, okay, like that's like such a help. Like it both made me scared for her because I'm like, oh, are you going to be like, I hope you don't end up, being self-sabotaging after this experience. But I see what you mean about like, as artists, like, you know, our lows, it like helps us tell our stories and helps, you know, our thought, like we can resonate with audiences, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to like be doing these terrible things to yourself. Like it's almost like when I take antidepressants, and the first time I was nervous because I was like, this is going to make me not be creative anymore. I was so nervous about that. And then I realized, like, no, like, I can, like, have a healthy life and still, like, take care of myself.
It's interesting because I mean, I was the same way. I also am on antidepressants. And I think there was that level of, like, oh, what if this changes my personality and I, you know, like, I can't create or I'll become boring. But instead, it made me, like, way more productive because I was like, oh, I haven't lost, like, 2 weeks to doing nothing because I want to, like, kill myself. Like,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I can get out of bed on a daily basis.
Yeah. Like, I just remember one time I was just, like, I was, like, freaking out because I was like, oh, my God, my antidepressants are working. What am I going to do? Like, I was like, oh, wait. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, like, because you hear of all these side effects of, like, it could be worse or, like, this could happen and that could happen. And I'm like, oh, God, I feel happy. This isn't right. Like, and I was like, it's the antidepressants. I have to go off.
There is, like, a level. No, I certainly, when I was on antidepressants, did the, like, well, I feel fine, so I should stop taking my antidepressants, you know? Like, and then did that. And my doctor was like, you shouldn't do that. And I was like, oops.
Yeah, it's a learning process. I've certainly done that too. Of just like, I'm done. And then it was like, why'd you do that? I'm like, yeah, you learned.
It took me a while to like be okay with taking antidepressants because I finally had to do the mindset where I was like, if I had something wrong with my body, like if my doctor was like, oh, you have a kidney disease, but you just have to take this pill every day and you'll be 100% fine. Like, I'd be like, cool, give me the pill, like, and have no problem taking that. And so I had to, like, think about my brain in that way, where I was like...
Yeah, because I had to do the same thing, too, because it's like, I had to remind myself of, like, if someone's like, I have diabetes, the doctor isn't going to be like, well, go out in nature. Like, they're going to be like, here's insulin. Like, exactly. And then also, like, go out in nature because, you know, it's just pleasant to do. Like, that's how I feel about, like, antidepressants of, like, okay. It's well, like that.
Even with, like, diabetes, there's still that level of, like, diet and exercise. And, like, I think that's, like, talk therapy is your diet and exercise. But sometimes that's not enough. And sometimes you need insulin. Go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's not like you don't need to read like someone's book, you know, this like pseudoscience book. Like,
don't like just go on Instagram and follow like influence models who are just like, I don't know, self-care, take a bath.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just like dry brush, or I don't even know what that is, but I hear it's a thing.
Wash your face.
Yeah. Put a mask on. Just do a mask. And it's like, all better. Diabetes gone.
Well, I also have a problem with like a lot of self-care, just like where it's like you're just suddenly rude to people, where you're like, self-care, cancel your plans. Like, it doesn't matter, self-care. Like show up to your friend's house and kick down the door. It's self-care. And you're like...
Yeah.
You're like, there's self-care, and then there's like just being a narcissist.
Yeah, because it's like, it's almost like, I don't have this worry, but it just made me think of like, what if you like called someone and you're like, I need you to take me to the hospital, and they're like, I'm sorry, but I'm learning how to say no, and I'm gonna say no because I'm trying to stand up for myself, and it's like, I'm so glad you're taking care of yourself. And then
like,
you
so great. I'm gonna call an ambulance, I guess. Like, or I'm gonna die in my living room because you can't say, you know, like I do feel like there's boundaries to self-care.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I'm like, you know, underestimating people who do masks. So who doesn't love a mask? You know, I have dark circles in my eyes, but like other care is important.
I love doing a mask. Has it ever changed my life? No.
No, yeah. It doing a mask, like, it doesn't, you know, I'm still just as miserable and as much of a loot. Okay, but like, yeah, it doesn't like like make COVID go away. Like it doesn't like, you know, like they were like, oh, you should just like do deep breathing. And it's like, Donald Trump is still president. Like why like, this doesn't work?
I need the heavy guns.
Yeah.
It was interesting because I mean, when Biden won, I like cried and felt like there was a weight that lifted off of me, and I wasn't prepared for like, I was like, oh, that's like the stress of 4 years a little bit leaving.
Yes.
And I did not realize like how much that had affected me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It was a very weird feeling of like all of these rules that I think like I thought of like, you know, like all these little things of like, oh, people aren't going to be like that, or oh, like I'm going to have to pay this fee for this, you know, like, oh, it's like, you know, like we're like so-and-so is going to get away with this, you know, like some rich person's going to get away with this, like, oh, my health insurance is just going to go up, like, you know, things like that. And then also like, oh, I am so scared for where our country is going because I'm worried that all around us there are people who are like thinking that, you know, like are like Jews should be dead and the white pride and all this stuff. And then when you realize like, oh, like I just remember that Saturday when he won, I was just like, oh my gosh, like all these rules that I made in my head about like how we all need to be in the world and how the world is like not there anymore. And it was like, yeah, I agree. Like this huge weight was like lifted off my life.
Yeah. I did feel like it was like a real exercise, and we're still dealing with it, and it still exists, but it's a real exercise in like just how broken our system was. I think it was like just like every rule got exploited, like everything that people maybe had exploited in the dark. Just like you're like, oh, this is a very broken system.
And it still is. We still have so much work to do.
No.
But the fact that we can do it is weird.
Yes. Yes. We're like not just dealing with like just where, it's that level where it's like you're not just like bailing water out of your house. You can now like plug the leak.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But there's still a lot of damage.
Oh, yeah. There's still a lot of damage. And the plug that we have isn't perfect.
No, it's going to disintegrate soon. Yeah.
Yes.
It's not a good one. We need a better one, but, you know, hopefully soon.
I did want to ask, because I'm like desperate to try it, and next time I go to the store, I'm going to get it. But I very much wanted to try her combo tea order, orange tea and vanilla tea put together.
Yes. It does sound...
teas.
Does sound delicious. She has her tea order, orange and vanilla. I was like, when she ordered it, I'm like, that sounds delicious.
Also, it kind of blew my mind because I had never thought about mixing tea bags. Like, I was like,
never done it either.
You can put 2 tea bags in a cup?
Yeah. It's like mind blowing. Cause like I like look at tea and I like one time I got like green tea with ginger and I'm like, ooh, green tea with ginger. But then I realized I have ginger and green tea.
Yeah.
I've been able to do this all along, but then I was like, no, it's green tea with ginger.
No, I mean I was like, oh my God, I could be making tea combos.
Yeah, this whole time. And it kind of blew my mind. And I was like, good on her. Like, what a good idea. Like, of course you can mix tea bags. And I'm going to do that, I think.
Also, I've never had a vanilla tea. I'm sure it
I've had vanilla chamomile. Like, it's like chamomile with vanilla in it. And like, I thought it for me, it's like tasted good. Like, I love the scent of vanilla. And so, like, it's like one of my favorite scents. So, like, to have that scent was like very pleasant and nice.
Do you remember when Jessica Simpson like put out a perfume line that was just like vanilla, and it was like they were all like cupcake flavors, and she was like, why wouldn't you want to smell like a baked good? And I loved it. I was like, this is great. I think it was like right after like a reporter was like, she's so fat, and she had like gained like 3 pounds.
Right. Yeah. She was like wearing jeans.
Yeah. And she like
that were a size 2.
And then she put out like this, like just like total candy line. And I was like, this is so great. I'm going to buy all of it.
Yeah. Have you listen to her autobiography because it's pretty good.
No, but does she narrate it?
She narrates it,
Oh.
and there's some extra songs in the end. Should you like just listen to songs? But I mean, reading it or listening to it, like I like never thought I'd be engaged by a celebrity memoir like that, but 100% was.
For a while, Julia Prescott was reading celebrity biographies and then like just posting about them in her Instagram stories, and I was very much enjoying it and she kept doing Tori Spelling, who has had a very fascinating life, and also I think has written like 5 memoirs about it.
Oh my God. I think my mom read a few, or at least one, because she was like really into Tori Spelling for a while.
Seems like real fucked up life, you know.
Oh yeah.
One of those
definitely.
where you're like, Tori came out as best as she could.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because, yeah, it does seem pretty fucked up. And I'm listening to Mariah Carey's. And, like, she's been through a lot of trauma, too. And, like, I guess I had never, like, even with Jessica Simpson, like, I guess I've never, like, just because there's, like, so many, like, on the surface articles of, like, here's all about their new album. Like, you never really, like, dig into their past or anything because you think you already know them. But then it's like, oh, no, you, like, you had, like, significant trauma, and I wouldn't have thought of it, even though so many people have. You are a person, and it's like you forget they're people or something.
A friend of mine is a celebrity ghostwriter, and so you know, he's like the person who actually writes those books. And yeah, I mean, he gets into like obscure celebrities, and he's like, oh, real fucked up life, like
Yeah.
But and it's interesting that, you know, the celebrities he's done, and I can't really like. I feel like I'm hindered because I feel like I can't mention the celebrities that he's done because of the contracts. But
Sure.
it's just like the level where you're like, all of a sudden I know all the trauma from this like random Olympic athlete, and you're like, all right. Okay. Well, we all have trauma.
So interesting. We do, yeah. And it's like, okay, well, one day everyone else will know, but I have to carry it with me now. And like, yeah, that's pretty fascinating. That's a cool job.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I mean, it makes me, whenever like anyone famous comes out with a book, it makes me appreciate like the person who isn't credited, who actually did all the writing.
Yes. Yeah.
Because no one is actually writing that book.
No one. Yeah. However, like celebrity ghostwriters, like they know what's up. They know how to do it. I think they know how to do it. Yeah. There must be like some process or like some formula that's like, yep, this is great.
Yeah. I used to box with a woman who wrote all the novelizations of like shows and things, and she was the one who writes the like LA Law novel or whatever.
That's amazing.
And I was like, I want to know everything.
Yes. That must be, I mean, obviously I haven't done it before, but I used to buy like the novelizations of The Little Mermaid or like, you know, Full House and whatever. And it's like, that must be so fun because it's like the story's already written for you in a way, and you can just like write what happens.
Any of those books that have like the photos in the middle of them of like behind the scenes footage.
Yeah, like Beauty and the Beast or like Little Mermaid. Yeah, I remember that because then it's because it was always in the middle of the book. And like, you know, books when you're a kid are like, when you reach it, you're like, I'm halfway done.
Yeah. Or you like look at it when you first start and then you go back to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would always do that. It would bother me because sometimes they would be like stuck in their mid-sentence, and that was always, you know, I'm like, that bothered me. But
yeah, that would bother me. No,
good.
You got to do it at end of a chapter so you don't, it's not like, you don't break something up.
Yeah, it was like very, yeah. So anyone listening out there, one, I don't mean to diminish your job. I'm sure it comes with, you know, certain like challenges that come with novelizing the movie or TV show. But also with the pictures in the middle, put it in a better place, please.
I feel like I'm a bit more, it happens less now, or maybe I just don't see it as much, but when novels would get the photo from the movie, and I'd be like, now I like it less. Like,
I agree. Yeah, because it's like when when you were saying like when the cover changes, like yeah, I it's like I get why you're doing it, but it's also like but the original cover was good.
Yeah.
and I'm talking about Twilight. Like
I do want to talk a little bit about just like Zed's full name.
Yes.
Zedediah?
Yeah. Well, what is it? Zedekiah? Zedekiah. Yeah. What a name.
That's a name. That's a hard name to live with.
Yeah, I honestly thought he was Amish. Like, it feels like that's such an Amish name. Sorry to be stereotyping the Amish, but I definitely, like, that was my first thought of like, oh, did he escape like an Amish family? And he's a great dancer.
The Amish ballet dancer, which I also am curious about.
Exactly. Now that's a novel.
But yeah, I was like, that's an intense name to live with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And so he goes by Zed, luckily. Like, yeah. Like, he's like...
Yeah. It's a burden. He did the best he can.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, he could just change it to Zed. He goes by Zed, but like, Zedekiah. It's like, oh my God. Like, God, it also reminds me of like, Children of the Corn, where they all had like it's like a Children of the Corn name. Sorry to all the Zedekiahs out there, but it's a very much like he used to be a Children of the Corn. But then got really good at dance and
I mean, yeah, it's definitely like an overalls beard kind of name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. When you visit the doctor, you probably hand over your insurance, your ID, and contact details. It's just one of the many places that has your personal info. And if any of them accidentally expose it, you could be at risk for identity theft. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second. If you become a victim, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year at lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Okay, so the book ends. There's a very interesting ending to this book where they have sex finally. That's like the last chapter, and it's, hot. We could have had more. But then the last part of the book is a fake magazine article interviewing, like going into this like super what's the word? Like just a really big in-depth article about Aliana and like what her life is like now. And like, what did you think about having that as an ending to the book? Because I liked it.
I mean, this book actually played with some form. I felt like it was, I felt like it got creative. I mean, even just like having the therapist, there were like some chapters that were really short. Going back and forth between Allie and Zed. So I thought it was like an interesting choice to have like all of a sudden this article about her. Because you get a sense that she is very famous, but that I think really solidified it. Yeah. And it did also feel like such a healing moment because all of a sudden she was talking about all the things that had gone on, and it was so I do feel like there's like an element once you start talking about things, then it even if it goes out into the open and it's like harder to deal with because the public now owns a part of it. It does mean that you're like starting to heal and coming to grips with it.
Totally, yeah.
It sort of reminded me of the interview scene in Flesh and Bone when the main character is being interviewed and they're like, why did you take this leave of absence? And she's giving them nothing. And I'm like, man, you just got to talk about your incest baby.
Yeah. Yeah, like people will love you.
Yeah. It will totally sell.
Yeah. I feel like I recently we rewatched Flesh and Bone, and I watched the last episode, and it could have been a second there really could have been a second season, and I feel like she would have done that interview then and like really
one
put
would
herself
hope
out there.
Yeah.
I would hope. Yeah. Yeah.
But I did like it felt like a real the article felt like a real like 10 years later kind of moment without it being like 10 years later. They just felt like really established in their groove. And it was just like, it just felt like everything had worked out
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It still felt like she still, like, she wasn't perfect, you know? Like, things weren't perfect, but it did work out. And it's like, okay, she's getting better. And it was just like, I'm happy for the both of them so much. They still have struggles. They're still broken, but they're together and, like, they watch out for each other. And I was like, cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, as a whole, I thought it was like a really well-written book and interesting characters. It's just like, for a romance novel, I would say, you know, give us a little bit more in that. That's what I wanted. I would have taken a little bit more sex, but
agreed. Yeah, it definitely felt like, I mean, who cares about genre? Like, I really, you know, whatever. But, like, this did feel like it is 50% fiction, 50% romance.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like, and that's what made it so good, though. So I wouldn't, like, say this is like any, like, if you are a romance reader, like, I really think this isn't like any romance that maybe you are used to, but I could be wrong. You know, I don't know your life, but for me as a reader, it was like, oh, this feels like very much like just fiction with one sex scene and love. Like, it's a love story, but it's fiction, but it's happy in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe also in the world of having to stand out in Amazon, you know, it does play better if you are a genre writer as opposed to just like a straight fiction writer. So maybe that's just why it is. But yeah, it did feel different than, you know, and I haven't read a ton of romance novels, but it certainly felt very different from the novel that I read prior for this podcast.
Right.
And isn't necessarily what I imagine in terms of like the swashbuckling, like Fabio on the cover romance novel. Yeah. So it did feel like very much like I was like, oh, I think I just read a novel. Like,
yeah, that's how I felt. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question that I ask on Bad Turnout. If you like the movie Center Stage, will you like this book? I don't know. I
honestly do not know. Just because, if anything, it's like a bit more of a time commitment.
Sure. Yeah. It's not like an 1.5-hour movie.
Yeah. Although, you know, I've certainly recommended like 12-hour TV series.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
You know, I think maybe if it was more set in the world of a ballet company, I would say absolutely. And I felt like it was very well written. I think if it was like, if you really loved the Miranda med school student storyline. Wait, is it Miranda? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Miranda.
Yes. Yeah.
If you love their storyline of her going, you know, to college and conquering her eating disorder, then go for it.
Yeah, but if you just want like dancing, maybe just watch a movie with dancing.
Yeah, exactly. If you're like looking for the drama of a ballet studio, just do that. Either become a ballet dancer, which of course, or just, you know, watch about it. But if you want a good, engaging book that's gonna like make you cry, I give it an A+. It gets 5 out of 5 point shoes. Yes. I feel like as a book on its own, absolutely A+. If you're like, if you're looking for to scratch that center stage itch, maybe not. I don't know.
And if you're looking for like horny stuff, I'd say maybe not.
Yeah.
I feel like in terms of like, it probably would get like a 2 point shoes out of 5 point shoes on the romance end. But I think on the no, I lied. 4 point shoes out of 5 point shoes. I'm a really good grader. But I feel like as like just this journey, this love story, 5 point shoes out of 5. I feel it should be 6 because there's a missing point shoe there, but sorry. It's not an even number of point shoes.
It's well written. I would have no problem picking this up and reading it, and I think I would enjoy it, you know?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to reading the sequel. I bought it today. I'm
Exciting.
very much looking to see where these two go because their story does not end.
No, absolutely. Maybe,
But alas,
you'll have
this
to fill me in.
podcast Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll just like tell you because like you don't have to. I'll just be like, here's what happened. They're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, well, Diana, thank you so much for returning and reading a book.
Yeah,
for me.
thank you.
Do you want to promote anything other than Bad Turnout? You guys know,
Guys,
get it where you get
Bad
your podcast.
Turnout, we're barely promoting it ourselves. No, I think that's it. I had been doing a scripted podcast on this show, Frequency 101, which is a lot of fun to check out if you like narrative podcasts.
Cool.
And just people playing with form in the podcast space. So maybe check that out. I had a series on it called Caveman Cove, and we just ended it and are going to come back with another series soon. So,
Ooh, awesome! That's so exciting.
So maybe check that out if you're looking for something new.
Yeah, cool. Well, this was delightful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Too Stupid to Live is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. It includes so many great podcasts, including this one.
Is monogamy dead? Are we expecting too much of Tinder? Do millennials even want to find love? The Dateable Podcast, part of the Frolic Network, is an insider's look into modern dating that the Huffington Post calls one of the top 10 podcasts about love and sex. I'm your host, Yue Xu, former dating coach turned dating sociologist. You also hear from my co-host, Julie Krafchick. On each episode, we'll talk to real daters about everything, from sex parties to sex droughts, date fails to diaper fetishes, and first moves to first loves. Tune in every Wednesday on your favorite podcast player as we explore this crazy dateable world.
For more podcasts you'll love, visit frolic.media/podcasts. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of your day.